Hey guys, cold email is one of the best ways to fill your sales pipeline with qualified leads month after month and connect with decision makers in your ICP. But a lot of the advice out there makes it sound way too complicated. The truth is though, is that cold email is actually very simple if you follow and you implement what actually matters. If you give me just 14 minutes of your time, you're going to discover the 5 steps on how to create insanely effective cold outreach that actually generates meetings at scale. The best cold emails are not spray and pray generic outreach. They're personalized and one-to-one, meaning it looks like no one else in the world could have possibly gotten that email except for the person that you sent it to. That's how you make high converting emails. You may think this is really hard to do, but I'm telling you, it's actually not that difficult to do at scale. Now I'm gonna show you the 5 steps that you can implement right after this video to make sure that you start generating more qualified leads in your pipeline for yourself or your sales team. Step 1 is focus on one persona and one problem. The best cold emails always start with understanding who you're sending it to and what problem you're helping them solve. This goes way beyond knowing just someone's job title. You have to narrow it down and get much more specific than that. A common problem across many startups that I consult is that they're sending out all these emails, they're sending out hundreds and thousands of emails, but they're not getting any responses. Typically, the struggle comes down to targeting the wrong people or sending the wrong message to the right people. The solution? Focus on one persona and one problem. To do this, start by mapping your buyer personas into 3 zones. Number 1 is the green zone. These are people who are experiencing the pain point that you solve, and they're also the decision makers. These are the people that you want to meet with. Number 2 is the yellow zone. These are the people who are experiencing the pain point, but they're not the decision makers. They're most likely influencers. And number 3 is the red zone. These are people who are not experiencing the pain point and they're not a good fit. Then what you want to do is you want to pick one persona that falls into the green zone. And it's okay if your initial hypothesis is off because you can always pivot and test more later. You can also use AI like Claude and ChatGPT to figure out what these personas are and which one of them fall in the green zone. Now guys, before I go into step 2, do not sleep on this. Do this right now. Even if you have to pause the video and go do this right now and come back to it, do it. Because this is gonna make a world of a difference. I've seen it firsthand. There are startups that I've worked with that did not map this out, that got no results with their outbound, and after I worked with them one-on-one to map out their buyer personas and their pain points, we were able to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in pipeline within months of implementing this. So do not sleep on this, guys. Now going into step 2, finding that persona who has that pain point. After you figure out which of those personas are in the green zone, meaning which of those job titles are experiencing the pain point that you solve and are they a decision maker, then we have to figure out how to actually find them, and how to find their contact information. This is where a tool like Clay becomes really, really important because it does 2 important things. Number 1 is that it consolidates all of the other lead generation platforms in there because all of them are integration partners with Clay. So you can use all of those platforms just by having a Clay subscription. Now, why this is important is because in the past, you would have to buy subscriptions to all of these different platforms to try to find all of the data in your TAM. And that can become very expensive. So what Clay does is it has integrations with every single lead generation provider so that if one platform doesn't have that lead, it will waterfall into the next one, into the next one, into the next one, until you find that lead. This is called waterfall enrichment, and it is a very key reason why Clay has taken over the landscape. And number 2 is that you can use a tool like Clay to find intent and to find signals for those leads to see if they have the pain point and are experiencing the pain point that you're solving. And guys, that right there is what completely separates the rookies who do not get any results from the people who are gobbling up all the competition. When you find signals and intent and you go a step further, that's when you start to really generate a lot of qualified leads. Most companies, what they're doing is they're just going to find personas, right? They're going to find the job titles, they're going to say VP of marketing, VP of sales, and they're just going to target every single one of those with generic messaging. But if you go a step deeper, you go into the pain points that they're experiencing, and then you find signals and intent signals out on the market that show that they're actually experiencing those pain points, and then you craft a message around that, that is going to make you stand out from everyone in your outbound. Some examples of these signals and intent-based signals would be a company who's hiring for a specific position, a company who has just fundraised, a company who's using a specific technology, a company who's running ads, right? A company who is having a specific amount of website visitors and a specific number of traffic. You can use signals like this and reverse engineer them into pain points that you're solving with to create a really strong outbound message. And that is a perfect segue into number 3, which is your messaging. Messaging is by far one of the most important things when it comes to outbound, and to be honest, most people are doing it terribly. Companies have these jargony, corporate sounding emails that quite frankly no one reads and that no one was responding to. And they think that this is protecting their brand reputation, but in reality it's actually doing the opposite, because no one knows who you are, no one cares who you are, and no one is booking meetings with you because your emails suck. But how can we make your emails not suck? First things first, your cold email should be very concise and try to keep them under 100 words. The best cold email campaigns that I've ever written for myself, for my clients, for big startups, B2B organizations, they're always short, concise, to the point, under 100 words. Number 2 is soft CTAs instead of hard CTAs. Your CTA is your call to action, and this is very, very important. A lot of companies that I consult and that I work with are doing this completely wrong. They'll say something like, do you have 15 minutes to catch up sometime this week? Or let me know when works best for you to have a demo call. This is terrible because no one knows you. No one cares about you. You have not provided any value up front yet, or you have not given them any reason to want to book a call with you. So you have to do softer CTAs that actually gauge for interest before you go for that demo. Saying things like, mind if I send over more info? Is this of any interest? Are you experiencing the problem that we're talking about? These softer CTAs are actually going to get a response, which can allow your SDRs to reach out, call them, respond with an email, and get them into your funnel, which is the most important part of outbound. Number 3 is generic messaging that seems like it's spray and pray. Especially in 2025 going on, this is not going to work anymore. You need to have messaging that looks like it's one-to-one, meaning it's one person to the next person and it could not be sent to anyone else. Now, what is the best way you can do this? Number 1 is by having a pain point and by knowing the prospect's pain point that they're actually experiencing. And number 2 is by having some sort of personalization in that email. That could be personalization based on a LinkedIn post they had, their job title, pain point that they're experiencing, an event that they went to. There are so many different forms of personalization, and you can use Clay to help you build this as well. This is exactly how you should be structuring your cold emails. First line is going to be first name with a personalization. Second line is going to be something about their pain point. Third line is going to include your offer or what you are doing to solve that pain point. Number 4 is going to have some sort of case study or social proof showing that you've actually helped other people solve that pain point. Number 5 is going to be a soft call to action, which is going to gauge interest, allow them to respond, make it easy for them to respond, and get them into your funnel. Here's an example of what that email looks like on the screen. Hey, first name, saw you're in charge of company name generating SMB opportunities, so I thought increasing the SMB pipeline would be pretty important. Many banks don't know when the best time to reach out to SMBs are, so they end up burning leads. We help companies like your company increase their conversion rates with SMBs by providing intent data that signals a need for your services. Mind if I send over more info on how we do it? This is a cold email that I've actually used and I've actually launched for a customer that allowed them to get on meetings with companies like JP Morgan, Liberty Mutual, State Farm, Stripe, PayPal, and a couple other big players in the space. Now, step number 4 is something that is a superpower. It's something that a lot of people are not doing in the space right now, but it's converting extremely well. And it's called creating front-end offers. Now, what a front-end offer is it's essentially taking a small part of your product or your service and you're offering that for free in your cold outbound. This converts really high and really well because it makes it really easy for your prospects to say yes, and then it allows them to go into your funnel and it allows your sales reps or you to nurture them over time, provide them that value, and then they eventually become a customer. Definitely try this if you haven't done it yet. Here's an example of one of those emails on the screen. Hey, first name, saw you're in charge of company name generating SMB opportunities, so I thought increasing the SMB pipeline would be pretty important. Many banks don't know when the best time to reach out to SMBs are, so they end up burning leads. We help companies like company name increase their conversion rates with SMBs by providing intent data that signals a need for your services. Do you want me to send over 10 high intent SMB accounts that are looking for capital injection? And again, guys, I ran this exact cold email for that company and got them amazing results. This is probably the best performing cold email that I ran for that customer. Now, the reason why it performed so well is because I literally offered them what my service is for free in the cold email. That's going to get a lot of people to say yes, especially if they're experiencing that pain point. In this example, if those job titles are experiencing that pain point of not having good data of SMBs who need capital injection, like they're trying to find companies who need capital injection, but they can't find that data, then they're definitely gonna say yes to this. And that's exactly what happened. This allowed one of our customers to close some really big deals. So definitely do not sleep on this. This type of outreach is absolutely crushing it right now, and it allows you to just generate way more leads and get a lot more people into your ecosystem. So definitely try this. Now guys, number 5, and this is the last thing I want to talk about, is don't forget about warm outbound. I know I just spent the last couple of minutes talking about cold outbound, but warm outbound is also very, very important. It's like the low-hanging fruit that you're probably forgetting about right now. Right now, you probably have people who are visiting your website, you have people who are engaging with your stuff on LinkedIn. If you're running ads, you have people who are clicking and engaging with your ads, but they're not filling out your forms. What you need to be doing is you need to be setting up tools like Vector, RB2B, Sona Labs, things like this to capture that demand and then turn that into leads, right? So for example, what you need to be doing is installing a tool like RB2B, right, for your website visitor identification, or Vector, or there's so many of these tools out there that do that right now, right? But something like that. That's going to be for your website visitor identification. Then number 2, you can send outbound to everyone who is engaging with your content on LinkedIn. And then number 3, you can use a tool like Vector or Sona Labs to take everyone who is engaging with your ads but hasn't filled out a form and send outbound to those people. This is low-hanging fruit, guys. You should be taking all of the demand and all of the people who are engaging with your stuff on your website, with your LinkedIn, your socials, on your ads, and you should be taking that, sending outbound to those people because that's low-hanging fruit. So guys, today you learned the foundations, you learned about personas, you learned about pain points, you learned about warm outbound, you learned about messaging, you learned about how to find leads, about signals, about intent. You learned all of that stuff. Now what you need to do is take this value that I've just given you, implement it, and create campaigns that are actually going to get you results. Now guys, if you like this video, you got value out of this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're looking for any experts to help you generate more qualified pipeline for your startup or the company that you're working for, you can hit the link in the description below. We specialize in building sales outbound systems for B2B SaaS startups and scale-ups who are in hyper-growth mode. So if you have SDRs, you have salespeople, or you're still in founder-led sales and you're looking for someone to come in and help you generate more pipeline, we can help you. And also, if this video was helpful, you can check out the next one that I'll place right here that tells you exactly what I've learned by sending over 5 million cold emails. I will see you guys in that next one.